All right, Sean Boyer says we're jumping in, so we're jumping in. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the third episode of the 2020 Rally Podcast season. Is that how? Not how it works, but we'll take it. Mike White here with Logan Cornelius and Sean Boyer, and we're chatting a little bit about our topics before, and I think we're gonna have some good chatter today. We're gonna start talking about some power ranking stuff. They haven't been released yet, but we have the list of teams to be considered, so we're going to go through that a little bit. Then we're going to talk about a question, what is Roundnet? I'll tell you what that means more in a little bit. And then third, let's see what happens, which means we don't have a third topic. We'll see what sprouts up along the way, and those two might take it up. But I had three down there, so I just wanted to stay with three. So that's what we're doing. Start with the first one, power rankings. Reminder, so this podcast will be posted on Friday the next week, which is Friday, March 13th. The first power rankings of the year, the preseason power rankings, will be released. That'll be the top 25 teams in the country as voted on by a panel of individuals. So I shared the list with Shaun and Logan, and I think the first question, let's tackle right now. Well, actually, I'm going to give a quick background. So, actually, I looked at the numbers over the course from last year to this year. Five out of the five top 10 teams at the end of last season have continued into this season. So, half of the top 10 and half kind of split off, either not playing or playing with other people. And only 11 of the top 25 from postseason are back in contention again. So a lot of new teams, a lot of mixing it up. So should be interesting to see the start.
I'd be interested to see like what the number, like the player counts. Like, yeah, teams broke up. Like how many, like the top 50,
Right.
or how many of the 50 players in that are coming back?
Yeah,
right.
That'd be telling to see like how many new players are cycling in to this top player list. But then also, that's an interesting number, only 11. It makes me think like, if you're not in maybe that top 5, top 10, and you're not performing the way you want to be, you're looking for a new partner next season to try and get in there.
If you're not in the top 10, it's your partner's fault. That's
it works for everyone. But I think that's kind of how it works a lot of time, because it's very fluid, and it's like, why not try a new partner next year, right? A lot of people also, a lot changes in a year. Could be going to college, could be moving to a new place. Could be practicing with different people, or this, of course, is what happens. You know, that person in your friend group that's third best is now second best, so you snag them, and work your way up. But anyway, so the first question I was going to ask is, it's our number 3 team at the end of the year, Flexual Healing, and our number 4 team, Octega, are both gone. Travis is now playing with Coleman Epperson as Toast, and Kenny Ortega is now playing with Josh Giacomo as Mammal. So the question is, who is that number 3 team? And I'll also note we have Venom, Dylan Fogarty, and Matt Bonin coming in the mix as well.
Yeah, you can go, Shaun. You got it.
That's a tough question. Coming in at 3, I mean, it can go any which way, and it's hard to pick an overall, like, who's that third spot, or like when you really think about the matchups, like the history of Anchored and CS, and how, like, I almost want to say Anchored because they have shown they can be the top team and perform at that level, but there's a lot of good teams out there. I was telling you guys before this that I think Venom is going to be somewhat of a dark horse, although no one's going to doubt their ability. I think if they play their cards right, they could perform very well this season. I'm excited to watch them. But even teams like Trippy Lizard, anyone can break out and take that top 3 spot, I think.
So yeah, my number 3 would be Venom. And so I'm not sure Shaun understands what a dark horse is. Because
but so let's put it this way. They don't have a ton of tournament experience together. They're 2 great players. Like, when we don't have a vast history to look back on and say they're going to perform well, I would say they're kind of a dark horse.
I could be wrong, but I think they only have one result together, which is third at East Regionals 2017, which was Dylan's only tournament of that year.
Yeah, and additionally, Dylan hasn't been playing in a lot of events. I'm not too sure on Matt either, but
no.
he
was injured at the end of the year.
Mid-season.
Yeah. So
I think dark horse is adequate, Logan.
maybe like a tan horse. Like it's spent a little time in the sun. It's got some color.
I mean, well, but you think about like their higher level, right? Like we wouldn't come in and be like, wow, they're like the 12th best team. Obviously, we think they're really good. So like they could be a dark horse in that aspect, where it's like Shaun's like, I think they're a top 4, top 3, but I think a lot of people are going to put them at like 6 right now. You know, we're like in the grand scheme, that's not a dark horse, but as far as
well, when you ask me
who's
the third spot, yeah, it kind of is.
I mean, I would have Venom in my 3.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a popular choice.
It's interesting because there are right. So there's also right. Trippy Lizard is right outside there, and what's interesting is right. Dylan didn't finish the end of the year. And Bono was playing with David, who had some up and down results last year, and they should be really good. And then, right, Mock-Tega, right, we haven't seen Josh and Kenny, right, play together too much, and Josh didn't have too good of a season last year with subpar, right? And then on the other note, Fluctual Healing, right, Coleman's not a bad player, but Travis was playing with Jarrett. So it's not like what you typically see, which is like, oh, the best player and the best player are now teaming up and like clearly they're the new super team, where we have those 3 teams where they're all clearly very good, but we don't know where they stack up. Yeah. But the good thing is San Francisco 3 weeks away, and Boisterous is going to be there, Mammal's going to be there, Anchor's going to be there.
Is Boisterous playing Saturday or just Sunday?
That is a good question. But they are signed up.
They're signed up for Saturday?
They are signed up. Well, so Toast will not be playing. Coleman's playing with Skylar. So we'll see how that goes. And I think one other team was signed up here. And also, Infinite will be there, which is the new team. Or not new team, but Jacob Payer and Sam Buckman, the college Natty's champs.
Yeah, new for the competitive season outside of college.
And Echo will be there, Logan's new team. As well as Trippy Lizard. So we'll get those. We'll likely get that Boisterous, Mammal, Trippy, Anchored, right? Coleman a little bit in there. We'll get that mix really soon. So I'm very curious to see how this first power ranking ends up, and then how how corrected will be. And
there's this thing happens over the off season. It's that Instagram bias where like all these players, like they have like 3 good plays, and then they'll have like 10 good plays the entire off season, and then make a highlight video off that, and then everyone sees like, oh my gosh, look at this guy's serve, he's amazing. It's like, no, he just took the 10 best plays he had over the last like 6 months, put them together, and that's what everyone thinks.
Marketing.
So
that's marketing.
Yeah, exactly. Off season it's all Instagram marketing.
I think we also don't know how much people are playing and how much they're improving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? There's a lot of like big time,
big X factor here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no one's posting their lowlights in the off season. What's up with that? Like, let's keep it real.
Keep it real.
Instagram
keep it
bias.
honest.
I like that.
Right, and then we have that good weather bias. You know, I think Origin's playing inside the whole time, so maybe Venom will have a little slow start, or they're just fiends in the gymnasium.
Or they start to think their serves are really good, and then they realize just because they're serving on gym floor.
I saw was it Rahul say that like his favorite surface
is
gym floor because his serves just rocket. I mean, I get it. So wait,
it's true.
So are you guys settling at Venom for 3?
No, I'm not even settling. I'm firm.
Oh, you're locking it in.
I'm locking it in.
So you think head to head, Venom takes Anchored, Logan?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is so hard. I kind of
Anchored. It's hard to rank Anchored because Anchored they're the CS killer. Like everyone knows that. Like Anchored, like you have one game, you got to choose one team to beat CS. You're going to choose Anchored, but then oftentimes I don't think
beat CS
in the tournaments. In the tournaments they've beat CS. I don't know if they've ever won. I don't have that stat on me, but
they won. They won once. Sorry.
Yeah,
I think they won the first time, and then the next year, I believe they lost. I hope I'm not wrong because I was there both times.
Yeah,
and then they lost in Seattle.
They do a lot of things really well, and like they're some of the best. But in a game that's very serve heavy, they don't have the best serves. And I think a lot of time that's why, like a lot of time, it's their serve receive is good. And obviously Ryan plays with Tyler a lot, so he knows his game really well. And then Anthony plays with Tyler well, so that helps them a lot. And then when it comes to other teams, that's where they don't necessarily have the finishes and play like they do against Chiswick Showalter. So it's hard for me to place them high, even though they have some really good results and really good wins. But I have a hard time placing them at top 3 for sure.
I think I also think Venom's really good, but I think I'm leaning a little more to the other side of Toast and Mammal. And I think the undecidedness is Toast, although Coleman is very good, like Jared is so solid. So, and I think he is like everyone thinks he like knows he's really good, but I think it's underappreciated, like just how good he is. And so, I wonder how they're going to stack up. And then same with Mammal. Like Kenny is so good. I don't know. I almost want to go Mammal just because I think Kenny puts a lot of work in. I know he's still working on some injury stuff. But and a lot of people are really hyping up Josh.
I think Mammal will be good. I think they're going to have a slower start to the season.
That's fair.
And then I think Toast is going to be – I think they'll be a top 10 team, but I think they'll be bottom of the top 10.
Ooh, interesting.
And one thing is, Travis said this, is he thinks they'll be a very boomer bust team, which I see that happening as well. Like the thing with like having Jared as a partner last year is like when Travis is on, like he's incredible. And then, I mean, Jared's got such a high floor and he's still like a solid player with a high ceiling. And so – with that, he always had that stability there. With Coleman, he doesn't have that stability. So if they're booming, they're going to be doing really well. But if they're busting, like it could be low. So I think it's hard. I think it's hard to have a consistently high place, especially in the PR, if you don't have that high floor. If that makes sense.
I think it makes sense, right? Like, I guess it depends on how many tournaments you go to, but. It depends on how you weigh it too, but like a second and then like 3/5 or a couple fourths is way different than like someone who just gets like straight thirds. You know, like, and I feel like I think it was Flexual last year. I could be wrong, but I think they just every tournament they played in, they were just like solid and got like just third place for the most part, and then they won a few, of course, or won one. I think. I don't. Yeah.
They won Dallas.
Yes, thank you. I'm getting nervous. There's too much stuff. I'm not the encyclopedia I used to be.
Depends a lot too, from like a PR perspective of who's knocking you out. It's like where you're dropping the ball throughout a tournament. And so like the place matters absolutely, but if you get a real tough round early on that could affect that, then it's worth noting.
Yeah. The hype is real. But so we're talking about Jared Rouse. What about Rouse Boyer? Or is it Boyer Rouse?
It's Boyer Rouse.
Boyer Rouse.
What about him?
Why are they not on the PR? They're playing San Francisco.
That's what I'm saying. I think we should be on the PR.
They'll come in, they'll win San Francisco, and then we'll throw them on.
And then you'll never see us again. So except for World.
Just like last year.
Yeah. I don't know why we're not on the PR.
Because you played one tournament last year, and you'll probably do the same again.
We're playing two. We're playing San Francisco and then the World's USA team.
Oh. I mean, that would make sense. If you qualify, then you'll just be a team for the year. Practice a little bit. Yeah.
If they qualify, we'll be a team for September.
But
yeah.
We'll put them on the PR in September, right? Yeah. But something else to note, because people may be curious why we're not talking about them. Hilltop will not be on this first PR. Made the decision to only have it be active and premier players because they're not both premier. Max has to earn it back because he didn't play it all last year. Of course, we know they're good and they're definitely in the mix. And similarly to like Logan just said, I think we get it. You have a dog, Logan. I think Hilltop will be in their contention later in the year. I don't know where they are right now. That's just me not knowing. And I think it'd be hard, even with how much they would be practicing. If they hadn't played tournaments last year, it probably is hard to jump in and to face all these top 5 teams and just not need a little bit of time to catch up.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think we'll get a little bit of taste with the college scene. So, like, I think Cole is at Richmond. So we'll get to see a little bit of him playing at Richmond and how he's performing, how he does at a sectional, and then a little taste at college nationals as well. So we'll get a little taste there. It'll be interesting to see when they make it back.
Yeah. Do you know if Max will be playing with Yale?
I assume so, but I'm not sure.
Cool. Then the other question I wanted to talk to you guys is, are there any teams on that, right, the PR contention that you're just really interested to see this year? Any new teams?
So, I mean, I'll bring this team up just because their Facebook post, everyone's talking about them. The OC Bubble Boys, I think they just won that tournament in San Diego. I'm excited to see how they are. I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit.
What were people saying on Facebook?
They're just saying that, like, I mean, they beat Kinney and Austin Rawlings at San Diego tournament, and just using popular terms like "don't sleep on them." There's probably a few these boys in there. I bet the term "nasty" was used. I don't remember exactly. I have to pull it up, but a lot of people hyping them up. All I can think about is Gucci Swag Ball last year, how they came out. They won that first tournament. Everyone was hyping them up, and then they just didn't perform throughout the year. So
cool.
I'm not saying it's going to happen with these guys, but I just want
You're saying you hate them. You think they're bad. They're overrated.
Trash.
Echo's going to wipe the floor with them.
Exactly. No, I'll be interested to see it, and I'm not saying that's not true.
But it's always exciting to just hear that stuff.
And here's the thing: like, I'm bringing them up in the podcast, so that automatically throws Cole into the hype train. So I'm part of the problem. Yeah. But if they prove themselves, it won't be a problem. So I'm gonna say pump the brakes, but I'm excited to see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. I will mostly agree with Logan on that. I do think what they have going for them is like coming off a win like that, where they were the underdogs and came out on top. That's only going to motivate them more. I think they're just going to be practicing the serves and their whole game even more than they would have before. So definitely a team to look out for on the up-and-coming list.
With teams like that, it makes me think, I kind of imagine a up then down then up trajectory where they have that threshold to where they can compete with those top teams, but maybe not beat them because of certain like matchup experience or skills or playing against strong players of that caliber, to where they might have some good results off the start. The other teams may adapt, and then they will push back through once they get that more experience. And I think that happens a lot with a lot of good new players.
And that happens even if you take that. I mean, that's not just Roundnet. That's lots of sports. You'll see a lot of sports. Like for me, like big football guy, like you think of Robert Griffin III, won Rookie of the Year, incredible rookie season. Then defenses figure him out and it goes down. So a lot of it comes down to when you start out, you're new on the scene, making that splash, but then getting that consistency and learning how to develop with the game. So it will be interesting to see how teams adjust and how they adjust to teams adjusting.
Right. We talk about. Now, I'm just not just talking about them anymore. When there's a lot of new good players and new teams, right, you're like, wow, these guys are really good. And you kind of forget just how good the other players are that already exist. So you're like, wow, this guy's really good. You're like, yeah, we have really good players also. Right? So it's really hard to get better and to beat those guys, right? I don't want to say it's easy to get into the echelon that you're considered for power rankings. It's not easy. But getting into there and breaking into even farther is really hard. It's not a steady linear climb. It gets harder and harder as you go up.
I know some people that have been playing for 6 years and broke the top 10 twice. So
yeah, it's not easy.
But
you just got to market yourself on Instagram, then you'll get in the top 10.
Exactly, that's how it happens.
I'm curious, where do you guys think, talking about OC Bubble Boys, for this power rankings, based on that recent result and a little bit of Facebook hype following, where are they going to land on the power rankings? I bet
they land just short of 20, in the late teens, maybe early 20s. I think it's enough to get on them, but I don't think people are going to put them too high, just because you start looking at all those names and you're like, shoot, these are names I know, seen results. So I think they'll get on there, but I think they'll be in the late teens to early mid 20s.
I can't put a number on it, but I think it'll be below all the people that are like notable. You know what I mean? It'll be like, oh,
Yeah,
them
established.
two. They're right. Like, yeah, below the established good players, but above like maybe the highest of like the unknowns, unsures, right? Because
Yeah.
they're you get the right. So because I think that just happens a lot of time. A lot of the power ranking is acknowledgement and name recognition.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I will.
Although
I
it
feel
is
like
the basis, hopefully, right? This is the preseason one. Hoping
yeah.
this year it will be very a results based, ranking. Just to put that out there. It's hoping to be more results based. Yeah.
And this year, I feel like the PR is a lot deeper. I feel like in the past, there's been some teams you look at the
Yeah.
PR, you're like, oh man, like it's like I guess you have to fill it out with 25 teams.
And I think we voted on like 35, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of solid teams. Like looking at, like, oh, this is awesome. Like this is one of the deepest power ranks I've seen, and like all the teams that make it should be on there, and they're good teams. So
I also want a quick shout out. We're looking for people to be panelists for the women's power ranking. So if you're interested in that, DM me or not DM me. Send me a message on Facebook or send Ezra a message on
Mike.
Facebook. Everyone just says DM, and I'm like, no one's DMing me. Send me a message on Facebook or send Ezra Dantowitz a message on Facebook. If you follow the women's scene, that'd be pretty cool. All you have to do is vote once a month. Quick plug.
I think one team on this power rank, getting back to the power rank, that I'm really interested to see how it goes is Team 7. I feel like last year was starting to be kind of like a breakout year, and they got that 4th place at Indianapolis. And they saw some good finishes, but it seems like it just didn't pan out for them last year. So I'll be excited to see how the season is for them, and if they just take that next step. Especially since Texas kind of ruined Michigan's day back in nationals. So,
are they gonna hold a grudge? You think?
I hope so.
But yeah,
what do you guys think of Ghosted? Power's getting where is it?
Yeah, Powers and Chew.
3rd at Columbus, and Chew got 2nd at Southeast Regionals.
So I think that's the thing. Chew is one of the most improved players of last year, and Addison was steady, solid. Like Addison played on power sweep with Micah Corbet. Is there Corbett?
I think it's Corbett.
I like Corbet, like sorbet. With Mike Corbett. And Addison is super solid. I forget how they placed in the tournament they played last week. I think they got second. I think second to Toast. Is that right? I think they got second to Toast last week. I think
no, they didn't get second. I think they got 3rd or 4th. Oh. They lost to Toast in the semis, I believe.
Okay, thank you. See, I lost it. I got to really get it back in there. I think the question will be like, how can they keep improving? Because like Addison was steady, solid all last year. Chew improved a ton. You got to wonder if they'll keep going, or like maybe the start of the season they'll be in the probably 12-ish, 12 to 15, maybe a little higher. You wonder how they can keep improving. That's always the question when you see that. Because back to what I just said, like keeping improving is really challenging. But I think what we also see here is a lot of Southeast teams, a lot of strong Southeast teams. We also have Prophetic. Am I saying that right?
You're saying it right.
Prophetic. Yeah. Zeke and Micah. So that's Micah I just talked about, played with Addison last year, and Zeke is really good. So that would be really good. I think that's something to watch out too. And then we can't forget to mention Dink and Flicka, David Gonzalez and Jackson Stanek. Jackson did really well at one tournament last year, and had a crap ton of good serves, including the reverse cut.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as Southeast goes, like, there's 4 or 5 Texas teams on here as well. So I mean, I think the college game is really, it's increasing the Southeast ability. I think Southeast has one of the deepest fields in the college, and now that's starting to translate over into the higher scene, which is cool to kind of see that starting to build out.
It creates the little microcosms and the places to play.
Yeah.
The last team I'm keeping an eye on, I'm curious to see how their season progresses, is Cheddar. Just 2 players absolutely known for their power. It's going to be. I'm curious to see how that translates.
I have no comment besides I'm very interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, they're gonna be fun to watch.
I agree. Interested to see how it goes.
I mean, they did they played together twice last year at the Grand Slams, so they got some chemistry going. We'll just see how they can figure it out.
Yeah.
But anyway, any last comments on here?
Gonna be exciting.
I think CS is gonna be number 1.
I think
Dude.
Echo will probably win it all at the end of the year. So.
All right.
Time will tell.
Sorry, I was just looking through. I'm excited.
Probably.
And then last quick note, Spikers, same thing, Spikers synonymous, right? Like, I don't think they didn't get as much recognition last year. I mean, they were really good, right? They finished at 6. And right, we didn't even talk about them, right? Because they're below Trippy. They're not in that 3 spot. But they had a great, like, kept bringing it up and up last year. I can't say words. Yeah. I'm having trouble.
Well, and I mean that's a continuation, at least for Taylor, across 2 years, where he had that the rise in 2018, and then just kept that rise going. So he's kind of proven that he can come on the scene and then just keep doing it. So, and I think Utah's another one of those situations where they have a great system going, and they're just going to keep turning out good players because they have that system. They have a lot of people playing, and that's going to help their higher level teams. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot more solid players come out of Utah just because they have that system being built.
Yeah. All right, and that will conclude our power ranking talk. Make sure to check it out next Friday. And of course, we'll find out, is it not a battle for 3 anymore in the future? Or is someone going to take Boisterous? We're kind of assuming right now Boisterous is at number 2 because they will be to start.
Yes.
But the real question is someone going to take them down this year? We'll find out.
I mean, both Boisterous and CS showed cracks in their armor last year. Not too big of cracks, but they showed a little bit. So it'll get interesting.
There's some cracks.
Yeah.
There's some cracks.
For sure.
So that'll be exciting. So, wow, we've chatted for a little bit, so probably just this next topic, and then we'll probably end it. But this next one might be a long one, too. We'll see what we got. What is Roundnet? And so what got me thinking about this question, it's something I feel like I talk about often, is Preston Buys How to Roundnet on his YouTube channel posted a group of them playing Roundnet, same rules except you're allowed 1 bounce per possession. And this made me think about different rule changes we go through on how to increase rallies, maybe help Roundnet. But I think something that doesn't get talked about often is the idea of what is Roundnet. Like, what can you change the game to? And you're like, that's not Roundnet anymore. It's similar to Roundnet, but that's not what I would call it. You could take the aggressive stance for any big rule changes or any rule changes that are not Roundnet, but I'm pretty lucid in that. So I just wanted to talk about that, adding a bounce, is that okay? Adding boundaries, is that okay? Right? Would that fundamentally change Roundnet in your eyes?
I think for me, and this might be an unpopular opinion, I think for me, Roundnet, if you take away the 360 degrees, it's not Roundnet. I feel like there's 2 kind of breaks. One break could be as long as you're hitting down onto the net, that's Roundnet. And then I think the next jump could be if you have the 360 degrees, if you take that away, it's not Roundnet. So for me, I'm not a big fan of the size. I don't think that's Roundnet anymore. That feels more like volleyball. I know it's not, but for me, it's as long as there's a 360 degrees, and I mean, you could probably try to think oh, what about this? Is that? But for me, in general, as long as there's 360 degrees, I see that as Roundnet.
I agree with that. That is sort of in a list of things that make Roundnet. That is at the very top, the 360 degrees. This might be a little controversial as well, but I wouldn't be opposed. It's still Roundnet if there's boundaries. I've flirted with the idea of maybe we have a 20-foot line or some sort of boundary to keep the ball in. We can still hit it in any direction, but I think that could keep it interesting. The other kind of big ones for me is this, net and ball. I think if we had a wooden platform that you're hitting the ball off of, that for me is it has some same things as Roundnet, but that'd be different. So that's the equipment does time sort of a big role in what it is, at least in my mind.
Interesting. So I want to say, although I hate it and I love playing Battle of the Boys 3v3 with sides, I agree. I think the 360 degrees is a fundamental aspect. Like those are round net based games, and I think they're so fun. But I don't think it'd be the same as round net. Like why I originally loved it was hitting everywhere, all the options. Like when you first realize all the options you have is so cool. Similarly, though, Shaun, I don't think boundaries is not round net. I think it's still kind of there. I don't know if I like boundaries, but I think that's still round net. You still have the aspects of it. But the last one, I think I disagree. I think it's more about the actions and what you're doing as opposed to the equipment. I think it would still be a ball, but I think like if we just hit it off, right, a platform, like when people play like on a stool, I'm like I feel like that's still round net. Like it's definitely a tabletop version, but I think it's still effectively round net. And I think the net and the ball is definitely what I like and makes it more feel like a sport, right? Like it reminds me of volleyball, right? It just works. But I think it's more about the action and what is happening, what you're doing.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Because, like, I mean, seeing videos, and I've done it myself, but like playing off a stool or just messing around somewhere with something that isn't necessarily a spike ball set is fun and does feel a lot like it. But I think for me, and like, there's just some sort of attachment to like the way the ball comes off of a net is just very pure compared to like a different material.
Yeah, I think
interesting word, but I agree.
I think I'm with Shaun on this one, just because like when you think about other sports, like no other sport interacts with like whatever a material in a way as much as it does like with round net. Like most everything is just the human handling the ball. Lacrosse, I guess, like you could say that that's not the human handling the ball, but most things it's like you're putting it into something and you're putting it on, but once it hits something, it's really not going anywhere else. So I don't know. I think I would agree that like the net's a pretty important part. Otherwise, you're just kind of like you're just doing drills, you're just practicing, but it's not the actual sport.
Interesting. And
Mike,
then,
did I hear you right that you said the 3v3 you didn't think was outside the scope of round net?
So 3v3. So wait, that's a different thing. 3v3 with sides, not because I like the 360 degree. The 3-on-3, that's a whole different combo.
Big fan.
I think 3-on-3 is still round net. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the future of round net?
That's a different question. No, because I don't have any friends. Finding 4 is hard enough, Logan.
So true.
Yeah. But what do you think? You think 3v3? Just regular round net rules? Still round net?
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I think it's like, I mean, there's going to be some variations in the rules, but it's like any other sport. 3-on-3 basketball, soccer,
Well,
volleyball.
3-on-3 basketball is not basketball.
Yeah.
They got a full-on professional league of 3-on-3.
That's right.
It's not a sport. I'm kidding. But we'll talk about this. What brought it up? Playing with a bounce. Is having a bounce not round net?
No, I agree. I think it's round net.
I would agree. I think so. It doesn't alter the essence of the sport for me.
The essence. We're getting into I don't want to misclaim, like a John Paul Sartre, like your essence. What is the essence of a being? What is the essence of round net? But I agree. I think, right, we're saying 360 degrees is an essence. The no boundaries, that's not the essence of round net, you would think?
I think there can be a sense of bound. I think you can have the boundaries and
I've played with boundaries and I've actually enjoyed it.
Well, even consider like a racquetball court. That's like some of the best rallies I've ever had, and that's very confined off the wall.
It's not a boundary, but it is, you know.
Yeah. So it's like I think it just adds a little more zest and spice to what round net is.
Just back to that, have you guys played with a bounce and how do you feel about it? Because I'll just say my 2 cents is I like playing with a bounce. I think if I had to practically use it for, right, like if I had to decide the rules, I would have it only a bounce be allowed on the first hit. I think it feels unintuitive. I'm sure I would get used to it, but it feels very unintuitive to have bounces midpoint after you've touched it. But off the first hit, I think it feels totally fine and makes sense to me.
I feel I haven't played with it admittedly enough to really make a judgment call on it. For me, just kind of thinking it through, I'd have a hard time seeing how you make it work with like some grass surfaces. Like all of a sudden it's raining and there's mud, like you can't play anymore. If the grass is too soft, you can't play with that form of it anymore.
You can play, you just lose the bounce and it goes back to Roundnet.
It's true, but it doesn't seem like if that's going to be a mainstay of the game, it doesn't seem like a versatile enough rule to become like something long term.
Is this 10-year split of turf Roundnet and sand Roundnet and grass Roundnet?
Might be able to get a nice bounce on sand. Depends where you're at.
Yeah,
just change the ball so it bounces. Make it the bounciest ball in the world.
Oh, then imagine that hitting your hand.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, I'm trying to think if there are other aspects. Oh, so one, Shaun, we talked about, right? Having two receivers. So we played this variation. There's two receivers, and then the server can kind of can hit pockets and hit it over your head. And although Skylar Bowles disagreed, we did not feel like that was Roundnet, right? I don't know. I did not. I did not feel like that was the same game that I like to play. So I think separately from the 360 and the boundaries and all that, I think how the game is played and the common actions are also similar to Roundnet. To where in this one, almost every start of the point, we would be running and scrambling, which you think would be a lot of fun. But I think that's not a part of Roundnet that I like that every once in a while, right? I don't need that every single time. And so to me, I guess maybe it would technically be Roundnet. To me, it didn't feel like Roundnet.
That's Roundnet to me. I like that style of plays. I'd be cool doing that.
Oh, I was exhausted after 3 plays.
Yeah,
so I think this. So that does reward a lot of different skills, but I don't mind some of the skills that Roundnet currently emphasizes, right? Say there's a lot of 1-2-3s. I don't mind 1-2-3s. I think that's a great display of skill and fun. I have fun just putting the ball away. I don't need to chase the ball down every point.
Personally, I think 1-2-3 should be 60 to 70% of the rallies, or 70% of the plays.
Yeah.
So I would mind a lot more running around. I think that'd be enjoyable.
So separately, I've played with the Boston guys here, 2 receivers, but no normal serve rules. So I actually liked that because, and it helped. I guess that would be the other problem. I think it cut down on aces, but still allowed the same game. I think we actually did do something so that the defense could have some advantage because otherwise it would just be back to a bunch of 1-2-3s. But the other thing is, sorry, I'm rambling. I'm sorry if it doesn't make sense. 2 receivers, because you're receiving with 2 people and both can get it, it actually makes that first possession a little more challenging, regardless of having the advantage of not getting aced, right? They'll put more fakes in. Who goes for the drop? Which side do you cover? And and it means you're running to the net, or your second set is from the net or is from far away. So there were other aspects, but I liked that because fundamentally to me, that still felt like the same game with just a little tweak on it, as opposed to something else. I end my my train of thought.
It is tough because we're almost getting into for there to be more rallies, there's going to need to be more of an endurance element, right? More of that running around, that scrambling, that lengthening of points. So finding the balance. I do agree that when we did try with 2 receivers and you could hit the serve however you wanted, that was a little too much. I still thought I was in the Roundnet sphere, but I just didn't like it.
I think that's probably it. It probably is Roundnet. I just don't like it. I don't like that Roundnet.
Something of that direction, I think we'd be on the right path.
But so it depends on what the goal is, right? Logan's saying 70% 1-2-3. And I think, right, that's probably achievable and okay. Like, I would like that because I don't need rallies all the time. I think the big thing is, like, the chances. I think chances are just exciting. Like, you get a hand and you try to get it back. But I also like watching 1, 2, 3. Seeing, like, the craftiness and the footwork of the top players is really cool to watch. So I think it's not just, right, for that idea, it's like, wow, there's rallies every single time or a lot of the time because it's just put in there and it is a more athletic play. But I think that's not the answer to the problem. There's a big mesh. And I think Roundnet has good attributes that we want to keep. We just want to enhance some other attributes.
Well, I mean, it's like if you take like a goal in soccer, like every goal, like most of the time the goals are exciting because there's a lot around it. Goals are kind of rare. And you take like a goal in basketball. Like each one is kind of mundane and blends together. You want rallies. You don't want it to be super rare, but you want it to be more like a soccer goal because they're
probably more rare often than the soccer goal, but I know what you're saying.
Exactly.
I know the gist.
More,
I know the gist.
More often than a soccer goal, but like you don't want too many rallies, or else it's like every rally is just kind of blends in. It's not as exciting. But when you have less of them, like when a rally happens, it's a lot more exciting.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time they also get really exciting. I think this is a different take. We're just talking about rallies now. Is
that was your third topic, Mike?
Forced rallies. I don't like. I'd say forced rallies, and as in like a pocket up, right? Like I want like a touch or a chase down or a good read. Or like, right, so those look exciting and those are fun as opposed to just, right, like we could change the net and have it just pocket up every time. But I don't know. It's interesting.
And I don't hate those when they happen, but I think some of them are good. So if you're having 30% rallies, I think 5% of those being pocket up, like those are fine. But I don't want that being the mainstay because like that's not as exciting.
But our pocket's Roundnet. Well, it is according to Shaun because that's just a part of the game with the net. But If we had a plank, we wouldn't have pockets, so therefore pockets are Roundnet.
Playing on just like a wooden set would be pretty interesting.
Yeah. The drops, they just die. No pockets.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Are there any aspects we missed? I think
one that came to mind for me was like, would you say if someone had rackets, is that still Roundnet? Do you have to use your hands?
I'd say it's like, so right when I think say it's still Roundnet, I'd be like it's a variation of Roundnet, but it still would be Roundnet. You know, I think it'd be Roundnet. Logan's not so sure.
I'm not so sure. Because I mean, think like pickleball and tennis, ping pong look very similar. A lot of similarities, but all different. So like I don't know if you use something different to contact the ball. It seems to change the sport in a lot of other areas.
Well, ping pong is also known as table tennis, so
it's still different though. It's still different.
So that's paddle Roundnet.
Paddle. I'm good with that. I'm good with paddle.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's like Roundnet, but it's paddle Roundnet. I wouldn't if someone was like, yo, you want to play Roundnet and shows up with paddles, I'd be like, you're dumb. That's not Roundnet. Tell me you're playing paddle Roundnet. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll settle with paddle Roundnet, but it is a different sport. It can share the name, but it's a different sport.
Yeah, right. All right, other thing that I think is very important, 3 hits. Is 3 hits something that Roundnet needs to have?
I think you can not have 3 hits in it and it'd be Roundnet.
I would agree. I think that could fluctuate depending on player amount, right?
Mm-hmm. I only hit on 2 anyway. Like that's such a staple, but I don't think it's like it doesn't need to be a staple. I don't know if 3 is just like the most intuitive or if it's just like conditioning from years of volleyball and everything. I mean,
what if we had just at the very start it had been 4? How different would our world be right now?
What if it's just 1, like tennis?
I don't think we'd be here if it was just 1.
Yeah,
we'd have a whole different conversation. All right, but number 3 on. Oh, actually, you got to always do the plug. Let us know in the comments. What's Roundnet to you? Is anything that we thought was Roundnet not Roundnet to you? And how many times have we said the word Roundnet today? Probably more than.
And let us know why is Roundnet with sides not Roundnet?
Why is
in
Roundnet?
your mind?
Yeah, it seemed like the
Right.
one thing we all agreed on is like it just has to have the 360 degrees.
Yeah.
And I thought that was gonna be controversial. So apparently I need to get
We're some OGs.
my finger on the pulse. Yeah, maybe that's why.
I don't know. I think I don't need the 360 degrees, but I think it's different. Like
I need it.
yeah. I don't say I need it. I enjoy playing without it, but I don't know. I might change my thought on that. I think it is such a core thing to it, but it's I don't know.
Well, it's its main differentiator, right? Think
Yeah.
of what other sports use 360 degrees. I don't think I can name one.
360
There
degree
might be.
ball, that clip on YouTube.
Which is just about the same thing.
But yeah.
But like, right, that's like the thing we got to hold on to because it makes us, right?
Right. And instead, it's just upside down volleyball on a trampoline.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I'm torn because I think like it is effectively the same, but at its core, it's not. Is what I'm saying. Like
It's not though. The way you hit is different.
Yeah,
the way you play
that
defense
is
is
true.
different. The way you work with your teammates is different.
That
The way
is
the
true.
net is different.
the amount of times
Where you hit is
the amount of
different.
times where like it's a bad set and you just physically like can't hit it because like you have to cut it backwards, right? In 360 degree round net with a voice crack, that never happens, right? You always have somewhat of a chance, like not physically, but like actually, right? You can't get to every set, but you can get a set on, which is
Roundnet?
pretty fundamental.
Roundnet with size is not roundnet. It's just hitting a ball to the other side.
Wow. It's Red Rover for adults. But anyway, that will conclude topic number 2. And topic number 3, let's see what happens. What happens is we end the podcast because we've been talking for a long time. But
Wow, that's a great topic.
hope you guys enjoyed this one.
Yeah, don't forget.
What? Don't forget to what?
Oh, I was just gonna remind him to press the like button, smash that like button, subscribe.
Subscribe. We've also been posting more videos. We posted a quick 3-minute video of the world's location. Some cool drone footage of that, so check that out. And I want to say, I hope I wasn't wrong about too many things talking about the power ranking. I'll try to get that encyclopedia knowledge back up.
Comment below all the things Mike was wrong about.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Next time we talk, we can we'll have the power rankings, right? We'll be able to see what we were right about and wrong about.
Yeah. And we'll see. And then
Maybe we just influenced all the PR committee's minds.
Yeah. Well, they should have voted by now, I'd hope. I'm just kidding. They have till Monday. But anyway.
Okay, yeah.
It will also be right before, or it won't be right before. It'll be a week out from San Francisco. So we can be able to talk. We'll probably have a really good big sign-up list and talk about that, as well as how Worlds is going to go down. So, yeah. As always, thanks for listening. If you have topics you want us to talk about, let us know in the comments below. As Logan said, smash that like button, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
See y'all.